So I'm in Australia today because of COVID, normally live in California. I could go and get bid for rooftop solar on the roof of the house that I'm sitting in for this podcast. I'd get 3 bids this morning, and by this afternoon, I'd have bids at 85 to 95 cents, maybe $1 a watt installed cost of solar, and I would have a cost of finance between 0 and 2% after all the various incentives. The electricity cost that then implies would be 4 to 6 cents per kilowatt hour, which would be, so I can buy solar electricity in Australia that is cheaper than the cheapest electricity on the US grid delivered to a home. That is with $35 to $45 an hour labor installing that solar. So it's not because of low labor costs. What Australia successfully did was eliminate all the soft costs, the permitting costs, the regulatory costs, the cost of sale. So 70 cents of the $3 per watt cost of American solar is that because it's not cheaper than the grid, it costs you a lot to sell it because you have to do a lot of convincing to people to pay more. So that revolution is really about to kick into gear, and the administration can actually make a big difference in eliminating the permitting and regulatory and other burdens and the soft costs. And then we get this amazing low cost solar. Then Australia went from a few percent penetration to 50% penetration of rooftop solar in a few years because the costs finally beat the grid resoundingly. If you model the US economy and you put that solar on everyone's roof and you put electric vehicles in the garage, running a 30 mile per gallon car on gasoline costs you about 16 cents a mile with $3 a gallon gas. Running the same sized vehicle electric off your rooftop solar is going to cost you 2 or 3 cents a mile. The average American home today has $61,000 to spend after they've paid taxes. They spend $4,500 of that on gasoline, natural gas, and electricity from the grid. If you could use that solar to run their electric vehicle and you convert their system with their furnace with a heat pump and their hot water heater with a heat pump to electricity, and you could finance all of that at low interest rates, which we're seeing because of the historic economic situation we're in with basically zero interest, that family will save $2,500 a year. So we're not there yet, but you might say if we could have Australian solar policy, Californian electric vehicle policy, and South Korean or German building heat and heat pump policy, that's the recipe for success in the suburbs.